Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State, on assumption of office, had promised to restore water supply to the state capital before the expiration of his first 180 days as governor. There had been some misconception at some point that the governor's promise was to restore water to the entire state instead of just Enugu City within the stipulated period. Well, Developmental Analyst Ambrose Igboke joins us now to assess the efforts of the governor to achieve this objective. Many thanks for joining us on Newsday.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, then. So let's get straight into it. It has been a celebration mood in Enugu since the launch of the ultra-modern Night Mile 24/7 water scheme by Governor Peter Mbah, among other projects to end the perennial water scarcity in Enugu State. Now, the Center for Humanity commended the governor for achieving this abundant water supply in Enugu within 180 days, a feat that they believe could take other governments up to 4 years. Now, what specific aspects of the governor's approach to this water project would I say has impressed you the most? And in what ways do you anticipate the restoration of public water supply will positively affect the lives of Enugu residents?
In Enugu State, Enugu terrain is a very difficult terrain, the Enugu metropolis. It is, of course, as the name suggests, in Igbo language, Enugu means the mountaintop. So you could see that the name suggests how difficult it will be difficult to get water because of the altitude. The topography is very high, and you need serious industrial boreholes. And it's also complicated by the nature of the soil, which has a lot of coal. And so Enugu itself has water for a very long time, when like 100 years during the coal mining time and the rest. But in the last 25 to 30 years, public water supply, especially potable water, became like something that could not be achieved because we almost did not have water at all because of lack of maintenance. The infrastructure broke down. There were no maintenance facility going up, the looting, no repairing of public system. So eventually the thing collapsed. So Enugu residents were only dependent on buying water from tankers for a very long time, for more than 25 to 30 years. And then, when the governor came up last year with his manifesto during the election, and he's saying that there will be water in Enugu metropolis in 180 days after he assumes office. A lot of people took it with a pinch of salt and saw it as one of the propaganda and political statements that come with electionary campaign process. But what you asked me, what made it possible? I think one thing, the clear-mindedness of the governor, the resoluteness of the governor, and the will and zeal and willpower of the government and commitment to make it happen made it happen. So what did the governor do? The governor did an assessment too and saw that no, it's not rocket science to get water to Enugu, in Enugu State, at least in the first 180 days in Enugu metropolis, where there had been water supply before the last 30 years. And these places have old pipelines reticulated along the side. Places like New Haven, Uwani, Emene, Thinkers Corner, GRA, New Haven, Independence Layout. So some of these places already have reticulated, but because of age, for the last 25 to 30 years, nothing had been happening in those pipelines. Some of them became rusted, some of them became bad, some of them had no water even running, some of them, like in Emene, there was a serious challenge of people even building houses on top of pipelines and thinking that water can never, they never imagined that water could come back in Enugu. So that, they condemned the old pipeline and built houses there. So there's that challenge there. But what the governor was able to do was that, first of all, the Enugu needs like 65 million liters of fuel every day, of water every day to get to service the metropolis. And what was generated before May 29, 2023, when the governor took over, was between 2 to 3 million liters. So that was grossly inadequate, first of all, so it could not even deal with it. And even at that, because of the epileptic power supply, because there was no power to actually push the water out, even with that 2 million liters, the generating capacity has also gone down. So what the governor set himself doing was to make sure that these things are ramped up. The dilapidated structures were repaired. Technical training was done. Then the generating capacity was greatly enhanced to 120 liters per day. And what Enugu really needs is between like 70. So the extra that is being generated, government says it will be used for, for expansion, because the city has expanded beyond what it used to be. And because of that, the phase 2, according to government, will now be used to cater for that. So as it stands now, the the water station in the 9th mile, for example, have a standby power electricity, both from the national grid, which is 6.6 megawatts. A substation was built, a new substation was built by the government. Then also, there are now alternative power, a gas plant was also built to power that place. So in total, it's like 11 megawatts of electricity. While the government says it hopes to get 20 hours from the substation, from the national grid, his own alternative power will give 1.4 megawatts. So with all this, 120 million liters is guaranteed for Enugu people. And so what government says is doing now is, in the last 180 days, it has grown the capacity. And for me, for example, I'm a living witness. I'm not just speaking for other people. I was able to fill my 1,000 liters of a tank, my reservoir tank, for the first time in whatever years I can think of. And what I'm using in my house right now is water from the public water system. And so it goes to a lot of people. And then another challenge, because of the weak pipes and because of the volume of water and the force, a lot of pipes are old, so they are breaking up. And we're having burst pipes here and there. So the government is also saying that they are sealing up some places, stopping water from flowing, making sure that those pipes are repaired, changing weak ones, and the rest. So in 180 days, I must give a high commendation to the governor for doing a lot. And where water was rushing in Enugu, these places I've mentioned in the past, water has continued to run there. And then there are some other things they brought up, some concepts. They called it a water gallery. What happens there is that, places that don't have water directly into their streets or their compounds, what has happened is that there were water galleries built where people can actually go without going too far. Just within their neighborhood, you can go there, fetch water, and then you can fill up your tank. You can do a lot of things. The government has put that in place too. While those who have reticulated their place can also, access water directly into their homes, just like myself. And what we are telling people is that, like myself, there are main pipes which have passed through the majority of the streets. So what we did in my own place was just to connect pipe from the mains of the public water service into my own home and into our own pipes, and water is rushing. So I must say that what drove the governor was commitment and a vision and a sense of vision to know that it can be actualized. The second part of your question is, what will it do? When the United Nations brought out Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, that will catapult countries into the next century, making us what will make human beings sustainable, they placed water at number 6. That is very, very crucial. Number 6, to show you how important water is. Water is life, as Adedeji Igbo says it. So water being available will also reduce health risks, especially in the effects of cholera and some other waterborne diseases. Water is now running. Most government public sectors have been connected to water, like the Park Lane, which is the teaching hospital. They now have water running in front of it. A lot of schools too, and some other hospitals are now having pipe-borne water running in front of it. So that is just to connect and let water run. Before, these people were dependent. Imagine a teaching hospital dependence on buying water from water tanks. So water was being rationed, and we know the consequences of that kind of action on the health of the people. Now, water is available throughout the day for them and to put in the reservoir to make sure that the health sector. So the money is being committed to buying water from tankers, from businesses, from public institutions, even from private institutions. The last time I bought water was 10,000 naira for a 500-liter tank. And you can see how difficult it is. How much water can you buy? How many times can you buy that kind of water? So when you have water like this, you free up the money to other sectors of the economy for developmental use. Also, for the governor have been talking about bringing foreign investors, FDIs, and even local investors, trying to make Enugu an investment haven. How will you do that without water? Majority of what the factories do are dependent on water. We are trying to ramp up our agricultural sector and make it, a very viable sector. It's dependent on water. When you want to do the processing of palm oil, you want to do cashew, whatever product, cassava, whatever product you want to do in the agricultural sector, it depends on water. Other factories, pharmaceuticals, other industries, you depend on water. So water basically is the vital organ that is used to make an economy grow. Even that is why the federal government at that level created the Blue Marine
all right,
and created some other sectors.
Mr. Igboke, if I may interject, Mr. Igboke, very good. You've highlighted a lot of things there. But you also mentioned the difficulty in topography when it comes to the provision of water and, of course, a growing capacity. But the question here is, can the government sustain this effort, not only in a part of Enugu, but in the entire region? So sustainability of this laudable project, can you give us an insight on that? What's been done to achieve that?
First of all, I must actually say that to provide water is not rocket science. It's just that our people have been used to the inactions and inadequacies of the past that we now have some kind of doubt. So the government has said that in its first phase, this 180 days, to the generating capacity for water, they said that they have, it has been, assured. So the next stage, sustainability, as the governor has said in his speech of November 25th on the occasion, is that, look, this has to be sustained through a process where people have to pay for their utility bills. The investments done in the water sector is huge, according to the government, and it can only be sustained if the people are willing to pay for it. You have to pay for the services that you are enjoying from the public sector. Otherwise, it will not be sustained. So government said the water will be metered. Government said that people will pay for them. Government said people should avoid wastages. I know they have brought out lines, phone lines, to people who we now, for workers in the water corporation, in the different sectors of the municipal, that you can, call specific number to report burst pipelines, to report any wastage so that they can come to work on it. And so these are ways of sustaining it. And also if people actually pay for the bills they use, I think it will be sustained. And the government is also working a lot of internal generated options, which can also make it possible to sustain. And so it's sustainable with the plans in terms of internal revenue generation and the business inflows the state is expecting. It's trying to grow the economy, according to the governor, from $4.4 billion to $30 billion GDP. Okay. And so with all those in the mix, it can really, really be sustained. It can be sustained very, very well. It's not rocket science. It just needs people who know what they are doing, and it can be delivered. I mean, Ghana here, different cities, is being delivered. Okay, so when you have somebody who is committed and single-mindedly wants to achieve it, as the governor is doing, it's achievable. Then for the other part of Enugu State, that's not the city itself.
We have run out of time. We really appreciate you. Developmental communication analyst, Dr. Ambrose Igboke. We thank you so much for your time and analysis here on Newsday.